Sad is not bad. It doesn't mean that you're failing or you're doing something wrong because you allow the sadness in. It is not a bad thing to grieve. It is an amazing thing to grieve. When you look at it and you come full circle and you've done your healing work, you start to look at all the areas that you were sad in, that you were broken in. It's not a bad thing to be sad. But what happens to us, the average griever, every griever, we try so hard to get away from the sadness. We fill it in with so much crap because we won't even allow sadness in for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. We don't want that. We were never told that it's okay to be sad.
Our message has been the opposite. Yes, we're not trained on how to be sad. We're supposed to always be happy. You gotta, pick yourself up by your bootstraps and put your big girl panties on, and all these things you got to do. No one ever says it's okay to be sad. No one
Yeah.
ever says that. Like until recently. Recently, it's a message now. There's all kinds of things, but prior to, and the only way I can, while you were talking, I was just imagining you're coming to your heart with like this plate of sadness, and your heart is like panicking with the hands up in the air, like screaming like, no, I don't want to be sad, because that's how we've been trained to go about looking at sad.
That is so true. And I love that example because I actually did a little podcast on it myself. If I were to give you a tray with all the emotions on it, and I walk it around, we're at a party, and here's the tray with all the emotions. I walk up to the first person, they're going to take happy. The next person is going to take joyous. The next person is going to take fun. Like we're going to take all those are going to go off the tray first, right? Now we go and we have hurt, broken, sadness. Nobody wants that. What if we told you that sad equals okay? Sad, we're supposed to feel sad. We're supposed to feel this emotion. And I'm using sad as the emotion because it's the easiest one to talk about. But we are supposed to feel sadness. We're supposed to feel broken. We're supposed to feel grief. We're supposed to feel unhappy. Here's the thing that we get stuck in within society. And I just thought of this now that you say that. We were with a client the other day. One of the things that you and I do when we meet with clients, the number one thing we do is we do an emotional check-in. We check in with their emotions. We mix it up. What are you feeling right now? What was your emotion yesterday? What was your primary emotion yesterday? What are we doing that for? We do an emotional check-in so that we start learning to check in with the emotions that are in our body. And those emotions aren't always happy. They aren't always joyous. As a matter of fact, when we do an emotional check-in, you and I will often go first, so the griever can start understanding what we're wanting them to do and why we're wanting them to check in. I bet 9 times out of 10, Erica, you pull emotions from the negative side, and you're absolutely okay with it. And you're not doing that on purpose. Like I think yesterday, one of your emotional check-ins, you said, I'm overwhelmed. Or maybe that was me. No, I'm overwhelmed. Like I am frustrated. I'm overwhelmed. And we kind of put a little backstory to it, why I felt this way. And once we do the emotional check-in and the person shares their emotion, that's the end of it. We don't try to correct that emotion that they're feeling. It's not our job to correct how they're feeling today. Our job is to just help them understand that you will go through hundreds of thousands of emotions through your lifetime.
And I think that and I know I felt this way in the beginning, like if you let in the sad, I'll never come out of it. I'll never feel
Yes.
happy again. I will only feel sad forever. Like you feel like it's going to be a death sentence. And I don't know where we get that from, but there's like this overwhelming fear. So you try to, it's like sad is chasing you all around the room because you're trying to run away from it. But if you let the sad in, it doesn't last forever. You will transition into another emotion. It may be, numbness, or it may be, anxiety, but at least it's still something different. You cycle through a series of emotions every single day. You don't just get stuck in the one unless you're resisting and then you're fighting it off. Then you kind of get stuck. But if you just allow them to cycle through you, you will go on to another emotion.
Are you reading my paper?
No, I'm just talking from personal experience.
Because I just wrote the word resisting down. And then
Well, it's my go-to. It's
it's like
the one
she's
I
cheating
connect
off my
with.
paper. I'm like, she's cheating off my paper. Okay. That is so true. What if I said sad equals good? Sad equals healing.
Mhm.
Would you be willing to look at the sad? What if this was a needle and I had sadness? I filled this needle up with sadness. And I say, okay, I'm going to inject you with sadness. But here's the deal of what I know about sadness. It will go through your body in a minute and a half. If you just allow it to be there, that emotion will pass through you in a minute and a half. You just have to agree to let me inject you with it. Would you do it? Would you do it if you knew you could be out of it in a minute and a half? But here's what happens, Miss Resistance. We resist allowing the emotion to be there, even for that minute and a half. So in the morning, we wake up, we feel sad, but we don't want to feel sad. So we decide we're going to resist it today. So we wake up, we shake it off. I'm not going to feel sad today. And we go to the bathroom, we get ready for the day, and then we go to work. And as we're driving in our car, the sadness comes up again. So we change the radio station and we turn the music up higher. We put it on some oldies and we start rocking out. And then we get to work and our coworker is all upset because her daughter wouldn't get out of the car at school. So she has this story. So instead of allowing my sadness in, I'm going to jump into her story. And we go throughout the day avoiding this sadness. Well, that minute and a half that would have happened if we just sat in it has now grown to 1 hour, 2 hours. It's still hanging on to us like a nightmare, like a monster following us around. It's everywhere we go. But because we're avoiding and resisting, it's hanging on. Now that sadness has gone into day 2, gone into day 3. That's how sadness continues to hang on because we didn't want to sit there and take it for 1 minute and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So the point that I was going to get to earlier also is we have a bad habit as a society, and we'll say this thing. How are you doing today? Well, I'm feeling depressed. And automatically the other person's response is, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, is there anything I can do? We try to fix that I'm feeling depressed. We need to start normalizing when the person says, I'm feeling depressed. Well, good for you. You're feeling it. You're allowing it in. Good for you. We need to start turning around when people give us the negative emotions, start encouraging them. Good for you that you said in the sadness. Because one of the questions you and I ask quite often is, when was the last time you cried? You and I both know that crying is an outward sign of an inward emotion. Showing those tears and allowing those tears in. Crying is not grieving. Crying is crying. But when we ask someone, when was the last time you cried? It shows you and I whether they're allowing the emotion to be there.
Yeah, I was just thinking it's funny. I'm like, now she's reading my mind. I'm not reading her notes. She's reading my mind about the thought when you're going to work and you're trying to avoid the sad. And then the thoughts, and I'm just using my own experience. The thoughts are, I don't want to talk about it. So if I talk about it, I'm going to start crying.
Yeah.
So when you have that situation and your coworker asks, how are you doing? You can say, I'm feeling depressed. Thank you for asking.
Yes.
You're acknowledging it, because then
Yeah.
that's going to help that minute and a half clock. The timer is on. It's passing through you. You're speaking your truth.
Yeah.
You're getting it off of your heart. You're unburdening yourself. But then you're also setting the boundary. I can't deal with it right now, but thank you so much for asking. And now I'm going to go to my cubicle and start doing my work.
Yeah. We have to start telling the truth about our emotion. I am like, I'm going to start doing that. No, I'm going to have no friends when this is over.
It's like, because it's when you're not telling the truth, you're walking around being your fake self.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate being the fake self.
Yeah.
The hardest thing for me after Donovan died was knowing my heart was absolutely crying a million tears, going to a social function I did not want to be at, and someone say, "Hey, Erica, how are you?" I'm good. How are you doing? And I got, but inside, I am just, I mean, when I tell you broken and sad and just, ugh. But in outside, I sure am here. Hello. Does this look normal?
Yeah. So as grievers, so you're saying that as grievers, we're the biggest liars in the world?
The biggest, fattest liars on the planet.
Yeah. 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 And we do that because we're lying to ourselves, but we're lying to them also. And that's the thing is we got to start telling our truth about the emotion. That's why the emotional check-ins.
Yeah.
And understanding what those emotions are and breaking down emotions. That's actually a really good podcast we got to do. We have it in our program, but we ought to do it in a podcast. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is when we came to this earth and when we, whoever sent you here, whether it's God, Buddha, energy, universe, whatever, part of the agreement was coming here was that we were agreeing to feel all the emotions and have the full experience on this journey. Good, bad, sweet, or sour, whatever it was, we were agreeing to do that. And part of that agreeing was agreeing to sit that 1 minute and a half in that pain, to sit that 5 minutes in that pain. But the other thing that we do with resisting is we do the thing called avoiding, and we'll lean into the wine, the nail biting, the sex, the pornography, all of the things, not to feel the 1.5 minute of sadness.
Right. Right. And it's going to come and go. It's not just 1.5 minutes throughout your day and then you're done with it. You put it up on the shelf.
Yeah.
It's going to come and go throughout the day, but we're just saying that's how long it's going to last. You can breathe through it. You can cry through it. You can, Sharon's going to start introducing some new stuff, doodling through it, which I love. And as we were raised as doodlers, anyone who knows this, I'm an avid doodler. You can doodle through it. You can do that for 1.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
I just was getting this image also. I don't know why my brain works like this, but it does. When you're saying Buddha, your God, whatever, Adam and Eve before eating the apple, and they're skipping along and they're living their great life and they're just doing all the fun stuff and, kicking up their heels, hooray. And then they eat the apple and then all the emotions came in. They were like, no, try to give it back to God. No. Here, take it. God's like, no.
No.
Now you got it.
Oh, yeah. What about the array of emotions that happened there in the Garden of Eden? Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I guess that, one of in our ebook, The Definition of Grief, I put a little quote in there that it's not the grief that we don't want to feel. It's the pain of the emotions that we don't want to feel. If I told you that grief is going to be easy and I give you step-by-step instructions and I promise you it's going to be okay, and I meet with you every day and tell you what parts to do every day, you'd probably agree with it. If I brought this needle to you with sadness and say it only lasts 1.5 minutes, you would agree to that. It's not that. It's the prolonged suffering and pain that we give to ourselves, we do to ourselves, that we are literally trying to avoid.
Yeah. I think I said this week with a client, and we've said it in other podcasts, our grief is our love.
Yeah.
How weird is it then that when we lose someone to whatever circumstance or event, and we just say, okay, well, that was nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
How weird would that be?
Yeah.
It wouldn't even feel right. It's not part of the balance, right? Everything in our life is about balance. The yin and yang, everything. It's in all cultures.
Yeah.
Part of our experience on earth.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. You just got to step into the sadness. My friend, be with whatever emotion you can for as long as you can. Name it. Figure out where it is affecting you in your body. What does it feel like? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it fast? Is it slow? Name that emotion and then say to it, hello, sadness.
Yeah.
I see you. I literally say that in my brain. Wow, I'm sad. And then I start to just sit there and just sit and try and describe it as long as I can for as much energy as I can give to it. and you can see it go right out of you.
Mhm.
Try that, my friends. That may actually absolutely help you. We teach a lot about emotions and processing emotions, and we do that in our Facebook group. We do that here on the podcast. You can set an appointment with us and meet with us, and we definitely would be energized to talk to you about emotions. But friends, here's the most important thing. You're not alone. You're
No,
not alone.
absolutely not. And that's one of the most beautiful things about the Facebook group, seeing how everyone rallies to support each other, and has we've built such a community that wants to embrace you. You are 100% not alone.
100%. Thank you, friends.